Hi, everybody. It is December 22nd, Wednesday. Um, yeah, today I want to talk about what's been going on militarily. Um, yeah, lots of stuff going on lately. And here that I live in Las Vegas, there's a big military airport, Nellis, to the north of Vegas. Been a lot of action going on there. Um, yeah, I also want to start off by saying, if you've been watching me do these little videos for a while, you kind of pick up that I'm sort of trying to piece things together, and that's why I created Connecting the Dots to begin with, is because I want to sort of be around like-minded people, people that are trying to figure out what's going on. And this story is pretty big. What's been unfolding, and what we've been figuring out is a lot bigger than I think we all kind of realized. It's a lot more complicated too. Um, but I mean, how I started out, just so you kind of get more of a background, if you haven't watched a lot of my videos, is I'm an artist, and what comes with the territory of being an artist is usually a lot of curiosity, and I want to kind of break things down and figure them out, and I analyze a lot of stuff. I've been like that ever since I was a child. So for me, uh, growing up and watching a lot of these kind of odd occurrences happen, whether it's you know war starting in the Middle East or whatever, just like a lot of stuff. I was going like, well, what's that all about? What's going on? And because I've got a very open mind and I'm a very critical thinker, I always try to go beyond what the main narrative is saying. I kind of just almost from the get-go, I don't really believe mainstream news. That's where a lot of people fall victim to all this, is they start buying into a lot of that stuff. It's not that I figured it out right away that they're in on it, but just in my own personal life, I've noticed some stuff that's like, I wonder why they're not covering that story. Uh, well, and then, for instance, you go back to, for instance, I'm the type of guy that obviously I kind of notice things that don't make sense. So, for instance, for the JFK shooting, even though it happened when I was really young, um, I remember listening to the story about it, and I know there's been documentaries and all that stuff about it, but this one shooter guy thing, it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't work for me. I was like, there's got to be more to this story. And sure enough, later on, I mean, I think it was a couple years ago, they sort of did more. They revealed more information on that with the Information Act. They disclosed a lot more information about what really went on. But I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody here also remembers when 9/11 happened. When it was unfolding, even I was like, this doesn't make sense. This just doesn't. It's shocking and everything, but you realize, okay, there's events like that. It's like, and then years later when they start, dissecting the story, you realize, yeah, that just does not make sense. Something's not adding up. For instance, they're never even mentioning. We're talking mainstream news as well. That's what really clued me in on it too. It's like, how come nobody's talking about the Building 7 going down in a controlled explosion? Whatever. So I started going down that rabbit hole even back then. I was like, I don't know, there's something going on. We're being lied to. So fast forward to today. I mean, even I'll just tell you a short story, for instance, that happened to me and my wife here in Las Vegas. It was one evening. This is probably about maybe 4 or 5 years ago. We saw this. We live right over where the airport landing is. They very rarely reverse it and take off from this, but basically it's the main landing area. It goes right over top of our house to McCarran Airport. So we always see planes going one direction. Okay, that's pretty normal, and they're always quiet because your engines are more quiet when you're landing. That's fine. The only thing that'll catch your attention is when the planes are taking off the other way. But there was one time where my wife said, "Come on outside, take a look at this. Look at this." Well, so I was inside the house. I ran outside, and we saw this. It looked like a plane, but it was like a long tube, and it was on fire. and it was like we know what we saw, and it was crashing. It looks like towards the Hoover Dam area, like basically where we live is close to Henderson, but it looked like it was landing in Boulder City. So we're all excited. We we jump into our cars like, oh my god, let's go check it out. Let's go crash, check out the crash scene. So we kept on going, kept on going, kept on going. It's like, and we couldn't see anything, and we thought we'd see at least helicopters or something or whatever. So we are kind of looking at the trajectory, and we thought, okay, it should land right about here. And we drove by, we drove all around. It's like, and there was nothing. It was really, really strange. So it came back and it's like, we know what we saw. That's really, really bizarre. And so we looked as usual at the news if there's any coverage on it, and there was nothing at all. Until the next day, there was some story saying, "Oh yeah, a bunch of people saw this thing coming in," and it was a they gave it a phony story of, oh, it was an old Russian missile casing or something or whatever that fell to Earth or something. They said so. Yeah, people might have saw something like that, but they quickly buried that story. And that's why from then on, I was really, really skeptical of the news because I was like, come on, we know what we saw. And as far as what happened, as you can imagine, we live near Area 51, and I don't want to go into what we speculate what really happened with that. But like I said, there was a bunch of other people that saw it. It wasn't just us. Anyway, that's just a small story. So anyway, going back to what's going on lately, there's been a lot of military action up at Nellis, north of us here. So we've been going up there, videoing it, taking pictures. We've heard, and then we saw, personnel carriers. It was like, I guess they're called C-17s. Lots of activity of fighter jets and big military helicopters going to Arizona, going to California, whatever. So we're just like, and as usual, media is just completely quiet about it. So your first thoughts are like, okay, well, if they're doing a military operation or exercise, obviously they're not allowed to say anything. So it's like, okay, well, kind of just skip over that. But it's getting more and more intense, and then the more research I've been basically finding out, I'll just be honest with you guys. I'm going to give you guys the good news. What it really is it's putting an end to the global takeover. It's the one world government thing, the Agenda 21, all that stuff. Yeah, that was the intention of the globalists. And this is a really slow plan that they've been trying to roll out for decades. This goes on way long time ago. And it's that slow boiling of the frog type of thing going on, whereas, I don't know until it's too late. But a lot of us have been waking up to it, basically. As far as that analogy is a bunch of us that are trying to figure things out, we realize, boy, our feet are getting pretty darn hot. Then we start looking around, hey, wait a minute, we're in a pot. So we're waking up to what they're doing to us. So it's about trying to sort of piece this story together. So as time goes on, not only am I waking up to it, I know you guys are too, but I guess I'll just cut to the chase. The reason why I've been so positive all these years, once I've started waking up to what's going on, is this is the dismantling of the deep state, which is basically the collaborators for the one world government in the United States and around the world. Well, as you know, Trump has been basically getting intel on them. He's got a lot of evidence. So he's been just kind of waking them up to it, saying, listen, I got the goods on you guys. And he's been slowly shutting down basically this one world government takeover for the last 3 years. Well, I guess it's coming to a head right now. And from all the research I've been doing, and you guys have been posting some really great stuff on this site as well, is basically this is the end game. So what we're really kind of seeing, it should be over by the end of this year. I mean, there's going to be, probably a couple of years after that they got to do more cleanup and roundup of the bad guys, let's say. But they're really going out there and arresting a bunch of people and shutting them down. And yes, the CCP has been in on this plan from the get-go, and I'm pretty sure it's connected to the flu situation too. All of this, like when we start putting all this stuff all together, let's say a couple months from now, it's going to be more obvious. Like right now, we're still getting kind of crumbs off the table, and we're trying to. I mean, myself, that's kind of how I look at it. I'm just sort of just feeding off the crumbs off the table, but by doing that, I'm getting little pieces of like banana bread and toast and stuff. I can't quite figure out what's going on top of this table. So, because if we're just all piecing things together like one big puzzle. So once this puzzle comes together, which it is, it's really coming together now, then we'll be able to figure it out. Then we can look at it and go, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense now. And let's be honest, that's kind of what connecting the dots and all of us critical thinkers and researchers are doing. We're trying to connect the dots so it makes sense. Now, just keep researching, because don't obviously take my word for it either. But I'm just saying this is kind of what I've been noticing. So by me being so positive, not only do I know that has an effect, but that's more on the etherical world. Like that's another thing I can go into, which I will be in future videos. But physically, what's going on right here, I'm very, very positive, because I already know it's a positive outcome. Like we're winning. From what I've heard, is we've already won this war. It's basically a war against good, against evil. So now it's just cleanup and also theatrics. And what I mean by theatrics is a lot of these people have already been arrested and taken care of. I know it's going to be hard to believe, but they have. Let me put it this way: like stand-ins, or lookalikes, or I know, for instance, there's clones, such things, clones. But so a lot of these bad people seem to be still out there, but in reality, that's a long story, and you guys will wake up to it. But in reality, no, they're already gone. They're already arrested. But the reason why the good guys have been let these clones or these impersonators still be on the world stage is just to watch what they are doing. They're still up to, because they still think it's their plan is going through. So this is another way of making a huge dragnet to get as many of these collaborators and these dark entities and dark people that are behind all this stuff. They're really evil, as we all know, and they've got bad plans for us. But we're breaking free of all that. So like, when I see what's going on, I'm getting happier and happier. So like, this is awesome news. We're kicking their butts and we're winning. And this is going to be a really good new year, like 2021. And again, don't worry about Mr. T getting in for another 4 years. That's a foregone conclusion. So don't worry about that. So stay positive, stay awake. Lots of stuff. This very exciting month. This is going to be awesome. Okay, I'll stay in touch. Talk to you guys later. Bye.